This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City FC looks to make their first ever U.S. Open Cup semifinal as they play the Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
That's right. Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence. That's Chris Sakonis with the big intro. Hey, a lot at stake in the 22nd running of the Hudson River Derby tonight in Harrison. Doesn't that sound good?
It does.
The 22nd running of the Hudson River Derby. Come on, man. He's Matty Lawrence. I'm Glenn Crooks, even though the names are reversed there. I'm in the pink. He's in the green. And a couple of nice shirts. This is
exactly.
Quite lovely on you there, Matty. And you haven't complimented mine, but that's okay.
No, it is. It's a very nice shirt,
Thank
Glenn.
you.
I didn't realize you needed validation.
You don't know me very well, then.
Exactly. Sorry, now I know. Every time we meet, I will tell you how good you look.
So we're at Red Bull Arena. We're in Harrison, New Jersey, and we've got a game tonight, U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal. So the first derby match of the season is in the U.S. Open Cup. And New York City, they've never been to the semifinal, so there's a lot at stake here. There really is, because it's the upper hand of the rivalry. That's always important. A CONCACAF Champions League berth for the winner of the U.S. Open Cup, and then also this domestic trophy. Just putting another piece of hardware in the trophy case, which happened last year for New York City and the New York Red Bulls. They've had supporters shields, but no MLS Cup, no U.S. Open Cup, and so here we go. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it makes a big deal as well. You know, from our perspective, NYCFC's, it's a big deal because it's Nick Cushing's second game. I think if it was Ronnie Dyler, he could get away with resting a few players. I think he could get away with maybe not taking it seriously, but it wouldn't be quite so important for Nick Cushing. It's imperative that not only does he win the game, but that maybe he can get some silverware in the cabinet as well. I think it's a really big deal for both teams tonight, and even more so for NYCFC with the new manager at the helm. I know it's only interim, but we know that Nick Cushing, he's made it readily apparent that he wants the job. I think it's vitally important that he gets a victory here tonight.
How about that? So he's coming off the 1-1 draw against Colorado on the weekend, and New York City went down a goal in there. Michael Barrios scoring, but just 4 minutes after that, this is in the second half, this is what happened.
Gets past the first defender, and now it's New York City with Magno and the equalizer! Tylus Magno! There's an answer. New York City down a goal. Magno responds. Keaton Parks on the field for less than a minute, substituting for Nico Acevedo, and New York City has leveled it up. It's 1-1 here in the Bronx.
Yes, this is a good pass from Maxi Morales, but he's just ghosted in between the two centre-halves, or two of the three centre-halves, was Tylus Magno, and he's chested it down and volleyed with aplomb.
Magno with his third goal of the season, Maxi Morales his third assist, and Tavon Gray got an assist, just his second career assist.
Because he might have touched the ball during the game before
the goal.
He
maneuvered a little bit, but he got the ball into the feet of Maxi Morales, who then took 32 touches and delivered the ball. I've got this one teed up for you, Matty. So when you were away and Anton Tinnerholm did the broadcast with me down at DC United, this is just for you, Matty.
Thank you.
The second assist was brought up. Listen to this whole thing. You'll enjoy
New York
it.
City up 1-0 on the Alexander Collins goal off a corner kick. Collins finishing in the 5th minute. Gloucester and Santi Rodriguez both earning the assist for Rodriguez. His 6th assist of the season. He's in the top 5 in the league in that department.
Yeah, it's a little bit different how you count assist in this league, though.
For the double assist is crazy, right?
Yeah. I don't really get that. That's not how you count an assist. That's hockey for me. But
well, Matty and Lawrence and I have discussed that frequently. It's
and especially how you do the rest.
Do you remember Thiago Martins got an assist playing a square ball to Alfredo Morales, who served a beautiful ball into Eber for the goal at Toronto? But Martins got an assist on that.
Yeah, and that's hockey for me, that you play a ball on your own half and then two other guys do something. So you have to check in on that system because the rest of the world you don't do that. So I don't know why you're doing it here. It's like keeping the old penalties you have here. You have to go through with a new system with assist as well. So for me that's not an assist. So that's something you have to brought up to next year, how you count assist.
All right, I'll continue to press the situation, but you've got a strong voice at MLS, Anton. We'll.
Yeah, but I mean, for us as a player, it's not a bad thing to get
that's true.
more assist. But
especially if there's any sort of incentive clause in your contract on assist. But
but that's normally in contracts. It's normally like just normal assist. That's your last player who passed the goal scorer.
Exactly.
So I think sometimes it pops up this things from live score or whatever in Sweden, and you got a double assist, and people is just asking what is going on over there. So I think it's about time to change that.
Oh, that was teed up just for you, Matty Lawrence, after Tavon Gray got
knows.
his. Anton does know, and I concur. There are times where, and we've discussed this, where if it's one touch, a service, a redirected header, and a finish, that kind of thing. Well, you can almost accept that, but.
Yeah, look, you
playing a ball on the deck to somebody, and then they take a bunch of touches.
But then you'd have to analyse every single assist and certainly every secondary assist. Look, it's the same as when Sean Johnson rolled it out to Thiago. He rolled it out 5 yards. Thiago ran 90 yards, dribbled it past 10 people, smashes it in the top corner, and Sean Johnson gets
it's a big goalkeeper assist, man.
Look, I'm not being cynical, but we all know that MLS is a little bit insecure, and it needs people to keep breaking its own records to give itself out. Validation. But anyway,
we have a special treat here in a moment. We're going to bring in a guy who knows more about New York Red Bulls than anybody I know. He's here tonight, and he's going to be talking to us from his seat. Can you wave? Well, we wave. But the Red Bulls are coming off a 2-0 win over Toronto. So here's the setup tonight. The other thing is you've got New York City, the number one team of the Eastern Conference.
Yep.
The Red Bulls are only a point behind, even though New York City has a couple of games at hand. And they've come from a position where there are some people a little bit surprised by their early season surge, which has really put them in pretty good shape, not just in the Eastern Conference, but overall in MLS.
I think rightfully so. I don't think that there's many people, and Red Bulls fans and pundits may say that they knew Red Bull were going to be up there. I don't think there's many other people. I think that what we've seen from them, the consistency, the quality, in terms of their goal-scoring prowess as well. They've scored as many goals as NYCFC. Granted, as you've said, they've played a couple of games more. But I don't think there's any names, and maybe I'm doing players a disservice, but I don't think there's any names in that lineup where you go, wow, that's a superstar.
Right.
No wonder they signed him. We knew that was going to happen. Look, Lewis Morgan is the one player that you and I watched even when he was down at Inter Miami. We couldn't believe that Inter Miami let him go. Their only good player they had, forget about Higuain, Lewis Morgan was their best player, and they let him go. Yes, it was a lot of money, $1.2 million in GAM or TAM or whatever it may be, something like that, CAM, I don't know, but lots of money.
It was an Amway deal.
Well, lots of money, but he's proven his worth, and there's other players throughout the team. Frankie Meyer, obviously a young talent.
Well, it was Morgan and Luquinhas. So we're gonna ask our guest about all these things. The Red Bulls here in the U.S. Open Cup defeated Hartford Athletic 2-1. Aaron Long with the game-winning goal on that one. DC United, they topped DC United at Audi Field 3-0, and then clobbered Charlotte 3-1. New York City defeating Rochester 3-1 at Belson, St. John's University, and then the most recent win over New England 1-0. Thiago with the game winner. That also at Belson Field. You're getting a close-up look here, the best we could do here, of Red Bull Arena, as that would be the New York City side of the warm-up. So we've got the goalkeepers, Ron Vartugi in there to the left. He's the one handling the ball, and Sean Johnson taking some reps. And we're still awaiting the starting lineup to be officially announced to see if it's Sean Johnson or Luis Barraza in goal here today. But let's bring him in here. There it is. There's the surprise guest, Mark Fishkin. He of all things Red Bull New York, or New York Red Bull. And Mark, it's so nice to have you back on. I know we've done this once before, and I love the fact that you're doing it. Is this where you sit for the game, right where you are now?
This is where I sit for the game. From time to time, I'll be in the press row, but I'm a supporter reporter at heart, and this is the view. It's,
look at that.
It's a
right
pretty
over
good
the
point.
South Ward.
Point it towards us. Point it towards where we are. Let's see, so we can wave. Can you see us? Yeah, over there.
I don't quite know if I can zoom in quite that much, but what can I tell you about this Red Bull team? They've won 2 of their last 3. The thing about the Open Cup for Gerhard Struber is that he absolutely is going for it. He has noted that the Open Cup is the quickest way to a CONCACAF Champions League berth. Both of these teams are 3 wins away from winning that Open Cup. And what we've seen from Struber is he absolutely understands how important it is. So while lineups have yet to be released, I'm expecting a first-choice lineup. The only question will be in goal, whether it'll be Carlos Coronel, who's been playing so well for New York, or Ryan Mara, the longtime New York Red Bull and one-time NYC player who has spent 11 years with the team and is usually the cup goalkeeper.
What a wonderful story about Mara today. I don't know if you saw it. U.S. Soccer on their website did a story. His father, I didn't know this about him. He's a full-time fireman in the Bronx for 40 years. And what Ryan Mara said, it's like, look, I wish I had played more during the course of my career, but how can I complain considering what my dad does for a living? So pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I fully expect Ryan to follow in his father's footsteps once his time is done as a New York Red Bull. He has the fire department in his blood, and I think he'll most likely wind up there. Yeah.
Wow. So what did you think? So Mara started the first 2 matches, the victories over Hartford and then DC United. And then against Charlotte, it was Coronel. What do you think was the basis of that decision?
Yeah, I mean, I think Coronel was coming off of an injury. Mara actually played in a league game. And I think Struber wanted to make sure that Coronel was in form and ready to go. And so he gave him the cup start. He made a couple of quality saves, and New York was able to pull away from Charlotte late in the round of 16 match. So, again, wouldn't surprise me for either player to get the nod today.
All right, Mark Fishkin, Seeing Red podcast, right? That's your deal? I mean, how many years have you been doing that?
We've been at it since 2010. We're going to have our 500th episode next week with a special guest. We're very excited about it. And, it's a labor of love. It's the oldest independent podcast covering the team.
Well, who's the special guest? Let's break the news.
Nope, absolutely not, my friend. Not breaking it on the NYC pregame show.
Yeah, that's what we want. Do it for New York City.
No.
But I like that supporter reporter. I'm going to use that again because it's nice. It's got alliteration, but it's true. That's kind of a difficult thing to navigate, right? Here with New York City, there are guys like Michael Ander, Blue City Radio, who's a season ticket holder, so he's certainly a supporter reporter. And others. He comes to mind first, but because I think he's been doing it longest too with his podcast, for New York City. How do you manage that, man?
Well, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have a great podcasting partner. Grateful for the New York Red Bulls to provide us access. And listen, Glenn and Matty, both of these teams are not exactly covered by the mainstream media in comprehensive ways.
No, they are not.
And so for both of the teams to recognize that there are dedicated quality content producers that may not be doing this for a living doesn't mean that the content isn't quality, and it doesn't mean that the fans don't respond to the content. Again, we've been doing this for a very long time. If no one was listening to us, we wouldn't be doing it, but easily, we've had hundreds of thousands of downloads and listens to our show in our time. And
I don't know if you could see it on your phone, Mark, but nice wishing another 500 from a New York City supporter. So there you go.
That's very kind. Thank you very much. I honestly believe that despite the stick that these fan bases give each other, there is a begrudging respect between the two. And so I'm just looking forward to a terrific match tonight.
Yeah, Mark, we know, obviously, New York Red Bulls have been consistent this season. That's why they're second in the conference, of course. But what else is it? What are the finer points that have made New York Red Bulls so good this season? I'm willing to admit, and you probably heard me say earlier, I don't think many people, many pundits, many fans of the game would have put Red Bulls up there in behind NYCFC in second place at this stage of the season. I may be doing New York Red Bulls a disservice, but what has made them this good?
Well, first of all, the continuity from last year. Gerhard Struber came to the team. The first game he coached due to the pandemic was the 2020 playoff game that New York wound up dropping to Columbus. Last year, listen, the Red Bulls finished 3 points behind NYCFC on the table last season. New York took 7 of 9 points from City last year. There was not a lot separating these two teams. And so to have the continuity, to have a lot of the same players back under Struber's system in year 2, plus you've added, frankly, Luquinhas has been a lightning bolt of energy for this team. He's calm on the ball. You'll get a chance to see him in person for the first time tonight. He's the MLS Player of the Week and scored an audacious chip for New York's second goal. He is a quality player that was playing in the Polish league for Legia Warsaw. Needed to get out of there, and is very, very happy here with the team. The team is incredibly tight. Gerhard Struber said this year's squad is the most cohesive in the locker room than any that he has had as a professional coach. In addition, Coronel's been playing very well. You look at John Tolkien, who's leveled up year after year. You look at the addition of Lewis Morgan. And so there have been, and Frankie Amaya, who frankly had a horrific 2020, 2021, and is almost like a new player on the roster because of the skill he's shown as he's moved from a number 10, where he played at FC Cincinnati, to a hard-charging number 6 that takes over acres of space. So,
Mark, I hope you can hear this. Forgive me for interrupting, but I've got a clip with Gerhard Struber this week, and the question was, last year, New York City against the New York Red Bulls, the Red Bulls with 2 wins and a draw. So what did he see as comparing what happened last year to this year? Here was his response.
Yeah, tomorrow is also a little bit different players like the last season, but I think the biggest key was our togetherness against them. I think we were so on the same page. I can remember the synchronized moments what we create, and from the first line until the last line, I think we was so clear in the plan, and we was brave in many moments to play our game in transitions. And I think they have a lot of problems with us to manage our intensity, our power, and also the spirit what we have. And tomorrow, I think the boys are ready from the energy, from the togetherness. We're on a very high level. From the tactical side, I think also in our principles we growing. Also the output is good. Yeah, and it's a big show tomorrow. I think at the moment, we are the number 2, New York City the number 1 in the table. We can see that, and I think everything will be very, very close, and the details are deciding in the end the game. And for that you need an outstanding focus. This was also very good in the last season when we play against them from the first second until the last second, that you are ready. And I think this is tomorrow very, very important, that we can find in our typical way very quick in the game and play our game, and then and it's not easy for them.
Well, there he is. So the first thing he said, Mark, was how together they were. So that was one of their critical points in doing well against New York City. But if we look at the history of this, boys, and especially here at Red Bull Arena, in all competitions, the Red Bulls are 9 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties against New York City here at Red Bull Arena. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. We call that rooting for laundry, because obviously neither of these teams, the players were here. I mean, I'll note that NYCFC has a number of players that have been on the squad for many, many years. But frankly, this Red Bull team has had so much turnover going back to 2015. I think there's only 1 player on the squad that is still here from 2017, and that's Ryan Mara, and maybe Christian Cáceres. So to be frank, this is the first time that a number of these players will be playing NYC in a Red Bulls uniform, and they're going to feel really good coming into this match.
Yeah, Mark, do you think that's a really valid point? Do you think the players in not only the New York Red Bulls dressing room, but the NYCFC dressing room as well, do you think they understand the importance of this as a derby match?
Yeah, I think they definitely understand the importance of it. I think, listen, both of these teams know that this is the premier rivalry that each of them have. Plus, it's a cup quarterfinal. I mean, this is the most meaningful match that the two teams have played since their last clash in the Open Cup back in 2018. Until these two teams play in the playoffs, this is as big as it's going to get for these two teams. So New York will have no problem getting up for this match.
All right, Mark. Well, enjoy the game from your seat right behind the supporter section to our right. It's we see you from here, and you're there. You go. Thanks for the wave. We'll wave back. But thanks so much for hopping on. Some great information to help us get ready for this thing. So enjoy, and we'll see if Empire State Building is lit up in blue or red tomorrow night or tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Enjoy the match.
All right, man. See ya. Mark Fishkin, the Seeing Red podcast, preparing for his 500th episode. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And there is, again, you can see the cones are all set for the warm-up for New York City FC, but it's still just the goalkeepers out there right now. And look at this. We have greetings from Chile. Santiago Rodriguez. There he is. And we know that during our broadcasts, sometimes we have listeners from all over the globe. And it's wonderful to see that the Uruguayans are getting that kind of support. Did you see this after the game? Let me see if I can pull it up. After the last game, Nico Acevedo and Santi Rodriguez. Check this out, Matty. So it's like a little banner from supporters with them, and there they are. And there's so much. I love the fact that so many nations are represented on this club and in this league, Major League Soccer. But it's U.S. Open Cup tonight. We see the starting lineup being scrolled there. Luis Barraza is in goal and not Sean Johnson. So I wondered about that, and I had asked Nick Cushing about that before his first game against Colorado, the 1-1 draw on Sunday. And he said he wasn't certain, but he did think that he'd be leaning towards Barraza. So there he is. Keaton Parks is back at the 11, so he's in for Nico Acevedo. And Maxi Morales is getting a rest at the start. So it's Thiago, Santi Rodriguez playing the 10, and Gabriel Pereira is back in the lineup with Tati Castellanos, of course, up front. Tati, he can play 5 games a week. He's that sort of athlete. We see Tinnerholm back on the bench. Will he get his first shot at playing in what would be now 255 days? And you've got a pretty good bench there.
Yeah, it's a good bench. It's a good starting lineup. I don't think there's any surprises in terms of resting Maxi Morales and probably not resting Tyler Magno either, giving Pereira a start, giving Thiago a start. They haven't had starts in recent weeks. The team makes sense, that's for certain. And Tinnerholm, you would expect him to come on, but only if it's, NYCFC are 2-3-0 up or New York Red Bulls are 2-3-0 up. I don't think you still want to risk him in a really high intensity situation just yet. Of course, I don't know quite what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know how hard exactly he's training, but it's impossible for training to replicate a match day. That's for certain. You know that as a coach. I know that as a former player. You can try as hard as you want as a coach.
He's got to get in his first scrum and come out of it, right?
Exactly.
How important is that for him when he gets out there?
Incredibly. Psychologically, that's exactly what it is. That first tackle, the first header where you go up and you land back on that Achilles. I know he's done it in training, but it is different in a match day. And hopefully tonight will be the right time for us to see him because NYCFC will be a number of goals up. But look, the longer he has on the sidelines, I think it is the better for him in terms of, his recuperation, recuperation and finding the right time to fit into a match day situation.
There you see the goalkeeper still warming up for New York City FC. It is Luis Barraza. If you look closely, he is in goal on the left there. He's got the head of hair that's shaded a bit.
The bleach
he's got the bleach
doing
thing.
the rounds.
And you see in and out. You could come back a week later and the boys will have their normal hair back. And I guess, and here they come. Here come the New York City FC boys in blue. And it looks like it'll be the Volt kits tonight. They got the orange shorts, so maybe they'll be going with those new Volt kits. And Eber is smiling and laughing and jogging, and nothing new there. And he's another one that we wonder if he'll get an opportunity tonight. He has scored in the U.S. Open Cup. He scored the second goal, the eventual game winner, in the 3-1 win over Rochester. It was a good goal. Remember the goal? It was putting pressure on the keeper, and it ricocheted off him and into the goal. Very Tati Castellanos-like. And we know he can't run in that same manner, but his contribution on the defensive side is going to be important if he's going to play.
Yeah, it is. I think it shows you how important this game is to Nick Cushing that Eber's not playing. This would be, for me, as a coach, the ideal opportunity to give Eber a run out from the start, to give him a full 90 minutes, to rest Castellanos, because we know how much he puts into every game. You're right. Castellanos could play 7 days a week. That's what he'd want to do. He wouldn't want to train. He'd want to play every single day. But that's pretty much every single player in the world. You want to play every day. At times, you have to, as a head coach, remove the player for maybe not their own safety, but certainly for the benefits of other players and for the team as a whole. It would have been nice to see Eber from the start, but as I say, that shows you how important this game is to NYCFC and Nick Cushing, that Eber still sat on the bench and Castellanos is starting again.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. We are here rolling the Red Bull New York starting 11. They will start, and remember Mark Fishkin, Seeing Red podcast, who joined us to give the Red Bull perspective. He was not certain whether it would be Ryan Mara in goal or Carlos Miguel Coronel, and there you see it's Coronel who will be in the 11. So Gerhard Struber, the head coach for the Red Bulls, is putting out a strong team, as is Nick Cushing, who probably has a little bit more to offer on the bench and a little bit more flexibility based on what we saw against Colorado tonight.
Well, look, starting lineups, squads, as a whole, NYCFC have spent more money. They have more money in terms of wages spent, and they have better players. That's fact. That's factual. Whether that shows itself on the field is another matter, of course. And we know, you have given the statistics. Certainly, we know from last season, Red Bulls took 7 points from NYCFC. They proved that it's not all about money. It's not always about talent. It's about hard work and whether you can deal with big-time match-day situations. And let's be honest, NYCFC in this specific example, the Hudson River Derby, they couldn't handle the pressure. They proved they could overall because they did it in playoff situations. They did it in the MLS Cup final, of course. But I don't want to say it's a banana skin. It's not a banana skin, but whatever it was, this was the game that they couldn't seem to not focus, but they couldn't seem to get the better of the opposition. And as I say, NYCFC, this is factual. NYCFC have got a better team, they spend more money, they've got a better squad, probably a better manager, and it doesn't always translate to what happens on the field.
Section 111, right below us, Corey Clayton, who has in the past won tickets by answering trivia questions on our Soccer in the City Live. The question last night, Matty, was who was the first New York City player to score in the Hudson River Derby? Good one, right?
That's not bad. I wouldn't know that.
Well, Liam Nethercott, he won the 4 tickets, Delta tickets, really nice ticket, because he knew that Patrick Mullins.
Wow, I would
May
never.
of 2015.
Is that Patrick Mullins' only goal in MLS? Then it must be, surely.
Stop that. He retired earlier this year, and stop that. Stop that, man. I can't. I try to control him, ladies and gentlemen, but we, this is what you're going to get. Hey, it's an entertaining broadcast. I'm going to repeat it. The New York City app, New York City FC app, you can click on it to hear English or Spanish commentary. And if you're at the stadium, you can just listen on your phone, and that's what I'd like you to do. And you're kind of getting used to when Apple TV comes and you're going to do the drop-down when the hometown TV announcers, in all likelihood, will now be part of the New York City broadcast. We're still not sure how all that's going to be set up, and then you hear your hometown broadcast. So that's us, and do it if you want. If you don't, then you can just watch ESPN Plus, turn that sound up, and don't worry about it. But anyway, Matty, Great to see you. Our live commentary coming up at 7:45 on the New York City FC Network and the New York City FC app on TuneIn as well. So thanks for joining us here, and enjoy the game, everybody. We'll be talking again really soon. See you.